Hey, welcome everyone to Bullpen's Gaming Den. Today we'll be doing the unboxing for Hansa Teutonica, the big box edition that recently came out. The game is designed by Andreas Stading. It's a reprint of a pretty well-known game that is a favorite with a lot of different people and was probably overdue a reprint at some point in time because new copies were hard to track down. I believe it might even have been out of print as it stands right now. There's a couple of things just to be aware of for this one as we go through the unboxing itself. Firstly, I've not played Hansa Teutonica just yet, so this is going to be my first experience with the game. So as I unbox it, I will not be able to offer comments on how this is similar or different from the earlier printing that would have come out. Secondly, it's interesting to note that this game itself is rated as 3 to 5 players, whereas the original game was rated at 2 to 5 players. So it looks like they've dropped the 2-player variant. I did a bit of research online. It turns out that it was not a particularly popular player count to play at and not really recommended by anybody. So it looks like they've just gotten rid of it, and this is now a solid 3 to 5 player game. So with that, let's go to the table, let's open this up, and let's find out what's inside. And if you've played the original, feel free to leave comments down below in terms of the similarities or differences that you see from the earlier one. I'd be very curious to find out as well. So let's go to the table, and let's find out what's inside this one. Welcome to the table, everyone. So here we have the front of the box for Hansa Teutonica, the big box edition. The game is published by Pegasus Spiel, and as mentioned earlier, it is rated for play between 3 to 5 players, and it's expected to be played in roughly 45 to 90 minutes. So about an hour, hour and a half, give or take. Moving on to the back of the box, it's pretty, gives you a quick overview of the description of the game itself. The version that I have here has language laid out in German and English. Your version may differ from this one, but that's the one that we're looking at right here. This gives you a quick overview of what you can expect inside the box once you sort of have the game out and laid out in front of you. As you can see, there's obviously going to be sort of like a main player board and then other pieces going around, and we'll find out what those are as we open up the box itself. So let's get cracking. Let's open it up and see what's inside. So as we go through this unboxing, I'll quickly note that I will be moving things around and taking things out of view and bringing them back in view as needed. So here we go. Let's lift up the lid and see what's inside. So pretty standard box cover right there. Looking at the rule book, so it looks like we have one book, but we might have more than one language in here. So this one starts off with the German rules in German itself. We'll quickly scan through it because I would not be able to comment on rules in the German language. So I'm trying to see when English sort of kicks in. Oh, and looks like we need to flip it over. There we go. So English language rules are definitely in here and on this side. It gives you an overview of the game itself, the components that you can expect to come in. So it looks like there's going to be 3 different boards in there. There's going to be a few components in here for experienced players, that labeled that out here for experienced merchants. And looks like you have a score pad and a bunch of other pieces. We'll look at the pieces themselves rather than looking at this one. So it gives you sort of like a description and overview of the game board, player board, how the game is going to be set up. The gameplay itself, just at first glance, seems like there's quite a bit of text going on. So more details on the game flow itself, end of game. Bonus markers, important rules to remember, so like a quick synopsis or summary. Will be interesting to see if there's a reference card that could be used in lieu of this as well. Tips for good play. Additional material for experienced gamers, it goes into that. Alternative game board, so it looks like there's going to be modes where you can change things around a little bit, add a bit of variability. Britannia, and what's the other one? The Eastern Hanseatic League. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. So it looks like there's, so these are the 2 variants that you're looking at in terms of the alternate game boards, the Eastern Hanseatic League and Britannia itself. And you will find a short rule summary on the next page, which we do. So this is where it intersects. English ends here, and then the German side of the rulebook starts on this one. So that's what we get for the rulebook itself. Just quick impressions. Definitely quite a bit of tech going on in here. While there are pictures or images, there is no sort of like a quick overview of the game laid out in front with the setup, labeling the different pieces and where you can put them out. But that's just the first impressions there. All right, so we'll go in. So before we get into the game board, it looks like we have some cardboard pieces, and these are punching out fairly easily. These are larger pieces as it is. Double-sided as well. Thickness is all right. Could be thicker, but it is what it is. And these obviously seem to be player boards in different colors. So we have yellow and blue. We have purple and green on this side, and then red being the fifth player one. There is some additional tiles going on over here. These are not exactly coins, but some sort of markers or tokens. But again, they're all punching out pretty well, so no issues there. So we'll move these to the side. Player boards. Now, as we had looked, there should be 3, and we do have 3. What looks like to be, pretty much full-size boards. So let's get going. We'll open up this one first. And these are double-sided as well. So, well, looks like you're definitely going to get quite a bit of variability with your play on in here. So this, again, artwork is pretty reminiscent of what you might expect with a Euro-style game. Nothing earth-shattering or groundbreaking, but it looks like it works. There's a score track going around. Color scheme is okay. Yeah. I mean, if you've played games like Orleans and so on, that gives you somewhat of a good, decent sense on the kind of artwork, or the art style rather, I should say, that you're looking at right here. And then flipping it over, you have the other side of the board. I assume that there is some sort of a difference between the two. I'm not sure what the difference is. You know what, I can't really tell, but I'm sure once we go to the rule book. Oh, there we go, sorry, never mind. 4 to 5 players, I'm guessing it's based on player count. And then this would be based on a 3-player count. So, excuse me. So the board is divided up in terms of 4 to 5 players and then a 3-player count. So that's the first game board. Here we have the second one. And, oops, sorry, these are all just moving around. So this one is not dual-sided. The other side has artwork of the game cover itself. So, the dude that we saw on the front of the box, just a bigger print laid out here. It's nice that they use the real estate to do something with it rather than just leaving it blank. And then on the other side, we have the game board. Again, art style, pretty similar to what we saw with the other one. So this is not split up by player count or anything of that sort. Covers 3 to 5 players, so 3, 4, 5, everybody's covered on this side of the board. Right. And then we have the last game board, which we'll have a look at. And this has a vertical orientation. Yep, there we go. I'm guessing part of the board is probably sort of like a cutoff, but I'll maybe just pan and scroll very quickly so that you can see what's happening in here. Again, very similar art style to what we saw earlier on. I assume this is divided up by player count as well. So this looks like this is the Britannia board, and this tells you that this side of the board is for three players, and the other side of the board is for 4 to 5 players. So covers both of those right in here. Yeah, but it's nice to see that there are multiple boards in there that cover different sort of like game setups and whatnot. So definitely adds quite a bit of variability in the game itself, and the fact that 2 of them are split up by 3 and 4 and 5 player counts hopefully indicates that there's going to be a little bit of appropriateness as far as how the map is set up for those different play counts. So, yep. Otherwise, we're now looking at the last final few components. Pretty standard cubes. It's, if you've played Euros, you pretty much know what's happening in here. I'm not going to talk too much more about this beyond that. But a whole bunch of them. And these look like these are based on player count, perhaps. So the colors do correspond to the player colors we had seen earlier. Cylindrical discs. Again, same concept by the look of things. Pretty standard. A very small deck of cards. Now, this might be the one we had a look at in the rule book earlier on that was meant for experienced players. So let's quickly scan through these. These are... I don't know what these do actually. They have a number up top right here, which is 5 for all of these. The text is different. I don't know what these do. We'll find out, I guess. So there you go. And then this is the back of the card itself. Again, same dude that we saw on the cover of the box. And then last but not the least, we have a handy dandy score pad. Double-sided. And is there any difference based on anything? No, these all seem to be, well, actually there is a slight difference. So this is the English side of things, and then on the other side you have the score pad in German. But I would assume that once you know how the score pad works, you can pretty much use both sides, regardless of your preference in language. So there you go. So that's useful. And then obviously we've come to the end of the box, and then there's an insert which I'm assuming I'm not really going to need, so we'll see whether we keep that or throw it away. Anywho, that's pretty much the unboxing for Hansa Teutonica, the big box edition. Let's quickly come back and I'll just share my quick thoughts on the quality of the production based on what I've seen so far, and some final words. Alright folks, so that was the unboxing for Hansa Teutonica, the new big box edition. Just quick, very sort of like a quick comments on what I thought about the production quality itself. It is pretty, it's okay, I think is probably the best way to describe it. You're not going to be wowed by anything you see in here, but if you've played Euro games before, especially from Pegasus Spiel and other similar publishers, you very much know what to expect in this box at this particular point in time. Art style is very much reminiscent of other similar Euro games as well. I don't know how much of this is similar or different compared to the original, as Ed mentioned earlier. But just looking at the art style itself, I would assume that a lot of this just is probably very much a straight reprint rather than anything that's changed on in here. So, but either ways, that's that. Hopefully this gives you a good sense of what to expect inside the box if you're looking to pick this up for yourself. And if you already have the original, hopefully this gives you a good sense of what might be different compared to that, or if this is pretty much more or less what you had in there. So hopefully it gives you enough information to make a decision for yourself to figure out whether it's worthwhile picking up this one or not. So with that, that's it pretty much for this video. Thanks for watching. If you have any thoughts, comments, suggestions, please feel free to leave them down below. I'll get to them as soon as I can. And in the meanwhile, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.